Hello and good afternoon, everyone. This is Terry Lee Live, and welcome to my channel. We are here today with my friend DK Trades, as always, hanging out with me, and our friend Wendy Kornberg is back in the house. Our friend from Cannabis. She is here to update us on this amazing IMO that she made on her channel. So, Aunt Wendy, take it away.
Hi, everybody. All right. So, if you guys were with us, whether you were with us or not, last Wednesday, I think it was, although it could have been Monday, I have no idea because I'm a cannabis farmer and days of the week mean absolutely nothing to us. But at some point in the near future past that we just had, we did an indigenous microorganism collection. And what I've done was I took our IMO1 collections, which are done out in the forest in the hills, and you inoculate rice, you bring that to a shelf stable condition, and then you take that shelf stable collection called IMO2, you propagate it out on a substrate that's made up of carbon and carbohydrates. So
Wendy,
after about,
you seem to
yeah.
be really quiet.
Oh,
Pull your camera forward maybe a little bit. Pull your computer. Can you pull your computer forward a little bit?
I
The top,
can. Is
is
that
it no,
better?
the top, the camera, the laptop. Yeah. Now talk a little bit.
Now talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Oh, I don't. It was you were
Okay.
louder earlier. I'm not sure what happened. We kind of lost your audio for a sec there.
We've been
Uh,
having all sorts of technical fun. I tell
yes,
you
we
guys,
have. Yeah,
boy, oh
because
boy,
I know I'm loud and DK's plenty loud.
we can just be
Let me see if
quiet
there's
though.
Yeah, maybe we can just really turn ours down or something. Gosh, I hate all these technical difficulties. Sorry, everyone out there. We want to get this
okay.
perfect today.
We
There
just want to
are
give you
some
good information.
Yeah.
select a microphone,
Yeah.
same as system or microphone array.
Try one.
I can one that I'm not on.
Yeah.
Is that better, worse, same? Better, worse, same?
C's the same.
Same. Same. Okay. Let me try test speaker and microphone. Okay,
No, that
yes. Speak and pause. Do you hear replay? I do.
test.
No, you just cancel that.
Finish.
That's just going through your own end.
No.
It's just
Yeah.
going to be through your one
Oh,
speaker. I think our best call for now is
that
probably
didn't
if
help.
I just sneak away from the mic a bit, and if Tara just turns down, and then we can match your quiet, or if you have
I don't
headphones.
know if it'll let me.
I can try to find a pair of headphones.
We might just
Little
be able
thingy
to.
there. Okay.
Let's Wendy. Let's just go ahead and try it. We'll just try and be really. We'll try and talk super quiet today. Lean way back for my
Yeah,
mic.
back, just sit back. It'll be even.
Okay, but
Oh, she's got a
let's try this.
headset. Let's see. Let's try. Sorry, guys, everybody that's tuning in out there. We're trying to get upset for you. We're trying to get set up for you. Little technical difficulties. Zoom has also had some updates. So, anybody that is going to be on Zoom lately needs to update all those because let me tell you, it's been interesting this morning. So, welcome everybody who's just turning in. We are going to have a little update with Wendy. I'm so excited. She is here to show us under the microscope. We actually get to see what this IMO stuff really looks like. I'm super excited today. How about you, DK?
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this. We last night had like a little preemptive look at it with her, and it was super cool to kind of just be able to see things and identify them, and hear from someone who actually knows what they're talking about. So I can't
Yeah.
wait to keep learning about this. Everything to do with the soil, essentially, right?
Yeah, it'll be super, super fun. Awesome, awesome. Well, let's take a dab. I'm going to take a dab. What are you puffing on? I'm going to take a dab of what do I got down here? Let's have some Choco. What was this one? Choco something or other. I can't remember the name of it. Choco. What was it?
This one is some peach
Choco.
rings.
Chocolatini. Tina. Something I got down at the dispensary. Got some bubble
Okay.
hash rosin. Oh, that's
Oh,
much
there
better.
you
Okay,
are.
Wendy, we're good. We're good. Take
Is
it
that better?
away. Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
So much better.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thanks everybody. We've
Okay. Where were we?
this is why I work with living things because we start getting into these like I was going to say gears, and there's no gears in computers really, right? So yeah. Okay. Back to what we're really here for, which is indigenous microorganisms. So this is the collection of IMO3, and I just put a little bit in a little jar. Actually, let me turn it that way. Maybe that'll be better. And so that's basically, there's just some grains and some wood chips, and there's a little bit of cannabis stalk in there, all kinds of good stuff. So really what I wanted to do tonight was kind of give people just a little bit of nuts and bolts about the microscope and the microscope work, because a lot of people seem to get very, very intimidated by this. But this, when you're starting out with Korean natural farming, really is kind of the only way to gauge your progress, other than just, waiting the season out and saying, my garden looks so much better than it did last year. But if you can actually look under a microscope and see what's going on under there, for real. So I've been doing this. I took class with Chris Trump. It was only 2 years ago. And I was kind of like, playing around with this stuff before that. But I did a lot of things, almost right, but not quite right. And really getting to that point of doing it just right is a huge difference. So last year, I was really starting to get my chops on how to get a good IMO collection. Most of my collections from 2018, 2019, I think I had one from 2017 that I tossed out this time. I graded them. I give myself a grade. What did I think? They're all like C, C plus, C minus. This one, really, I should have given myself a D, but I'm going to call it a C minus because I don't want to accept a D because I'm an overachiever. But they were not great collections. So after taking class with Chris, I got back and I was like, okay, I'm getting up into like, C plus, maybe a B minus. And then this year I've had a couple of like perfect collections. There have been great. And what I'm seeing is that underneath the microscope with this IMO3, it is a world of difference compared to what I've had before. And my garden has been going great. Like, don't get me wrong, natural farming works amazingly well. But once you really start seeing these beneficial fungi at these levels that I'm seeing with this collection, and it's all about getting that first collection down right. So once you start getting enough indigenous microorganism collections that are really high quality, propagating them out becomes very, very easy. So, well, not very easy, but it becomes your finished product of IMO3 becomes much better. So what I have is, this is my microscope. It is an Omax. It's a 40 to 2,500 compound trinocular. You can also get a binocular microscope. It doesn't really matter. The tri just has to do with where your camera can be put in. If you don't want to have a camera, you don't need to. It's not a big deal. It's totally not necessary. If you do get a camera, if you're running a Macintosh or an Apple, I highly recommend getting a Celestron brand. Okay, do not get the one that comes with this Omax because it sucks on Macintosh. It works great on PC. So if you're running a PC, you can get the camera that goes with it. This happens to be a 9 megapixel, but they have all up and down the line. And it's just a matter of if you want to take great pictures or not, and how much you may care about that or not. So this is the microscope. It's a pretty simple setup. This one has 4 eyepieces. And then we also have to have a box. These earpieces do not stay in my ears very well, so pardon me. So then we also have your slides. Okay, so the necessary items are going to be slides, cover slips, your microscope itself, of course. You're going to need a test tube of some kind, but if you don't have one, you can use just a glass of water, whatever. And then I really do recommend you get disposable pipettes. Unfortunately, these are plastic. It kind of sucks that you have to throw them away, but you can't reuse them. They do make old school glass pipettes, but trying to clean those out is like really difficult. The slides technically can be reused, but the truth of the matter is that they're not meant to be reused. They are also disposable. And if you try to reuse it, the fungi will actually etch your glass. So even if you wash it right away, you really can't get more than 1 or 2 uses out of it. What's up, baby?
Wow,
There's a
really? I'm so shocked. It
okay.
actually etches the glass.
Yeah, I would have never
That's
guessed that. That's pretty
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it'll eat away at it. Hey, Mirabella,
Yeah.
can you
That
find a
is just
bucket to put over
crazy.
Scorpion?
Well, welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in, we got Wendy joining us here with
Yeah.
she's doing an update on her IMO that she's been doing. She's gonna show us all the organisms. We call them, what do we call them? Fungi, fungal, just
Fungal spores.
fungal
So
spores. Okay.
sporulating fungi, but
Okay.
mushroom spores basically, right?
Awesome.
Sorry, there's a scorpion in my backyard and the
Oh,
dogs are back there.
my.
Oops, make them leave it alone. I don't know.
All
All right.
kinds of critters at your house.
So in order to, I know, right? Scorpions, rattlesnakes. I live in a really safe place, by the way. All right. So test tubes are reusable. And then you just want to take your sample and you want to fill it up to either 1 milliliter. So these test tubes all have little marks on them. So these are milliliter marks. It goes from, 0 up to, this one goes up to 15 about. And you can either do 1 milliliter or 2, and then you can fill it up to 5 or 10 with water. So I generally do 1, but we might go ahead and do 2 on this one just because these pieces are really big. And trying to get only 1 is going to be hard. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do 2 milliliters of our sample, which is Indigenous Microorganism 3 collection. You want to tap it a couple times to kind of settle it. That's right at about that 2 mark. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not doing counts on this. So if I was going to count my microbial activity in this, I want to be really precise. But because I am not counting today, I can be a little looser with it and not have to worry quite so much. Your water cannot be tap water, okay? So unless you live in the country and you have spring water or something like that. But if you have chlorine, you have to dechlorinate it or buy a bottle of spring water or RO or whatever it is that you might want to use. But tap water with chlorine and fluoride and stuff is just a no-go. It will kill your microorganisms pretty rapidly and kind of give you a contaminated sample. So up to 10 right there. And then you just cover it with your thumb. So there's the sample. Okay, up to the 10 milliliter mark because I put in 2 milliliters of my, it's not soil, but of my indigenous microorganism. And then in order to always get, so when we are doing counts, you want to always be very precise about, your ratios, how long you're mixing it, how you're mixing it. So in order to mix this, we simply take our arm at a 90-degree angle and you want to do a count of 30 seconds. So it's 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000.
So on and so forth. Yeah. Well, this is very interesting. And it looks pretty easy, right? It's just a simple process.
I know. We're all so
pat.
intimidated. I've been so intimidated by these things. I know. We've all been so intimidated. We're going to let her count because she's going to lose track if we don't, we're going to mess her up.
Right.
Perfect.
There you go.
I also tend to lose rhythm sometimes. So I'll be like 29, 1,000, 30, shoot, 31. Ah, no. So yeah, but again, it's not a huge deal with this. So once it's mixed, it doesn't look that different than it was when it was unmixed. But if you get up close, I should actually get a white piece of paper behind it. You can see that there are little bits of stuffs floating in there. So that is your microorganisms, whatever your bacteria and biology is now dispersed through that water column. So then pretty simple, you want to have a clean slide. So if your slides, when you get them, generally these are made in China and a lot of times they'll have like schmudgy stuff on them. So really simple way to clean it is with our COVID breath, just breathe on it. And then a cotton t-shirt and just give it a quick wipe down on both sides. You want to do the same thing with your cover slip. Your cover slips are almost always smudgy. especially because to get them out, you have to like grab them with your fingers, and fingers are grubby. So clean slide. I set it on the side of my slide, my microscope slide. And you take 1 drop of liquid. So you can put your pipette. So I squeeze the pipette to get the air out of it first. So it's like this, give it a good squeeze, stick it down into the center of the column, and you let it go and just suck up a few drops. So, you can let it go all the way, and hopefully it doesn't drop on your computer, but you're only going to use 1 drop of this. So you just want to basically squeeze it down until there's 1 drop right into the middle of your slide. You can also do 2 drops if you want. You can do 1 on the left and 1 on the right. It's not so important that it goes in the center of your slide, but you want to get it pretty close if you can. And if anybody remembers high school science, this is basically exactly the same thing. Only, what's really funny is I totally just dropped.
But there is a little difference, and we were talking about it last night. So the microscopes are big difference, right? So the one in high school or in class or whether you were in school with is one that the light comes, it's above it and shines down onto whatever you're looking at, right? And then this one,
Yeah.
to be able to see, actually shines up from underneath it, is what we're understanding.
Yeah, so there's 2 types of, well, there's many types of microscopes, but there are 2 general types. There's a dissecting microscope where the light comes from above. And then this one is a shadow microscope. The light comes from underneath. And what it's doing is it's creating a shadow that you're seeing the shadow of the creature rather than from the top down. And you cannot use a dissecting microscope for microbiology, for the soil science. It just doesn't work because these are microscopic creatures that are clear for the most part. So if you're lighting it from above, there's really nothing to see. But if you're lighting it from below, then you get their shadows. I hope I'm describing that correctly. I could be totally wrong, by the way.
You're doing great for me, from my
Pretty
end.
sure that's correct, though.
Hey, well, I never really realized there was so many different type of microscopes. I'm not someone that's been in a lab. I'm not someone that went to school for science. I went to high school, of course, for science, but didn't even like that. But
My favorite classes were science classes.
I'm sure glad there's people
All
like
right.
you that like science.
I love it. It's so cool. I mean, in this tiny drop of water, what are we going to see?
Yeah, you guys,
It's
I'm so
fun.
excited. Everybody that's tuning in here, we got to see this last night. It's really cool to be able to see these organisms that have already, I call them organisms and they're not, they're fungal spores that have, that already have spored. And it's so cool, like how fast this works. And Wendy is just so into this. So it's really cool that she gets to explain all this to us today. So welcome everybody that's just tuned in. So go ahead, Wendy.
All right, so we now have our slide set up on here. We've got our cover slip that's so our drop of liquid, our drop of water is in between the cover slip and the slide. So it's sandwiched in here. And believe it or not, even though it looks fairly flat to our human eyes, there's actually many layers through this column of water. So even though it's a drop that's been flattened, it's still a column of water, and there will be biology, throughout the different layers. So you always want to start on your smallest eyepiece, which is usually a 4X. Again, they do make different scopes, but 4X, 410, 20, and 100 tend to be very common pieces here. And your, let me turn this a little bit more. Right here in the back, this is your focus. So you have a large focus here and you have a small focus here. I love we're doing like a microscope class online, by the way. This is like the coolest thing ever. So
I think so too.
You always want to start.
Thanks, Wendy.
Totally, right? So this is your large focus. And what you want to do is look through your eyepieces and get it focused in more or less. And then this one is a fine focus. So once you get it focused in more or less on your 4X, your smallest, your shortest little eyepiece, okay? No, it's not an eyepiece, your shortest lens. Once this is focused more or less, you do not touch this big wheel again. You are just going to touch the small wheel from now on. Okay, so that small wheel is the fine focus. And once your large is in, it's good for all of them. Let me get a little more light on this. There we go. Whoops, wrong way. 3. All right. So large focus, small focus, or fine focus, I should say. So for me, it's already been dialed in on the large, and now I just have to tune it a little bit with the fine. And that's pretty good. And again, as you're looking through the column of water, if you see something and it's not quite in focus, it might be because it's lower or higher than whatever you focused in on. And you can just use that wheel to just kind of move it around a little bit. The other thing you need to know about on your microscope is this right here. This is your, this moves your slide around. So this actually moves this whole place. You don't ever touch your slide and move it by hand. You use these wheels. This one goes back up and down, and this one goes back and forth. Okay, so there's 2 ways to move your slide when you're looking through it. And this makes it a lot easier once you get used to moving things around to, you know, chasing down flagellates and things. You're not losing them. All right, so we're gonna go to screen share now. I'm gonna go to screen share. I'm gonna try and go to screen share and see if we can't show you guys what I am seeing. Oops. Wait, that's not what I want to do. This one. Okay, screen share. There we go. And that one. Da-da-da-da. Did it work? It says you are sharing screen.
You are. It
Yep.
looks good.
Okay, awesome. So the one thing that I do not love is that for me, looking through this is blurry when it's clear on the screen. So I don't know why that is. I assume something is probably not quite in calibration or something, but you should have seen us just trying to get onto Zoom today. I'm just gonna let it be. So right here, this way is so I just kind of like looked in and instantly I see something interesting right here. So I can focus it in and then I can slip to the next one and you'll notice it's blurry again. So you have to just use that fine focus and just focus in just a little bit more. And immediately it looks to me like this is a fungal, yes it is. So this is a sporulating fungal head. So I'm going to flip one more up so that we can really see it better. And sometimes you need to move your slide around and sometimes you need to turn your light up a little bit. Okay, whoop, there it goes.
Ooh, that's
and so
looking
this
good.
is, come back. So yeah, so this was a spore head. This was a fungal spore that probably already blew its spores off. So a lot of times these are covered by these little circular, you see these little tiny circular dots that are on the big piece. And those are usually the fungal spores. And a lot of times before it actually sporulates, as it's sporulating, as it's creating its spores, those little dots will be all over the head. And I do have pictures of that I'll share with you guys in just a minute. But I do want to
Those
focus in a little
totally
bit more.
remind me of little trichomes.
Yes. So cool.
Little trichome hits.
It does. These very much look like glandular trichomes. And so you can see the stalk that it was on. So this was a larger piece of a fungal hyphae. So basically the fungus, the mushrooms and fungus creates these long strands. When those get really thick and wide, we can see them with our visible eyes, mycelium. But the fungal hyphae will then create these heads, which will create spores, which is how, of course, it propagates. Give me 1 second, you guys. I hear a puppy whining. Hang on.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
How cool is this, Tara? My
This
goodness.
is so cool. Yeah, I'm like so totally blown away with this. How's everybody doing out there? I hope you're all enjoying this. Wendy
Yeah,
is
what do you
like
guys think?
spending all this time with us. She's getting ready to go on a trip, y'all. She's getting ready to go spend some more time with Chris Trump on some more classes. So she's also going to be checking in with us from Boise as well. So it's going to be super, super awesome to do something like that. And then she's also, oh my gosh, she's got a little puppy. Look at this. Let me spotlight her. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
I muted you, girlfriend, so we can't hear you. Did I spotlight her? Oh, now she's left. That happens every time.
Can't just leave with the puppy.
What an adorable little puppy. Oh my gosh, that's right. She's taking care of puppies. I forgot. What kind of English? No. Or what are they? French or English bulldogs?
I think they were French as well. I believe they're the
Frenchies?
same as
Frenchies is
Darren's.
Darren's, right.
Same as
Yeah,
little
yeah,
Carol
yeah.
Dabs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you
yeah.
haven't yet, checked out Carol_Dabs on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And today we are joined by Wendy from Cannabis. If you also haven't checked her out on Instagram, please do so.
Link is in the chat.
French. Raptor says French. Okay. How's everybody doing out there? Is everybody puffing? Anybody puffing out there? What's everybody doing? We missed 420, but it's like 5 minutes till 420 somewhere, right, guys? So definitely we're going to hit this one. Wendy, can we hear you?
I'm back.
There
Yes.
you are. How's that puppy?
He's fine.
Okay.
He's pretty cute.
All right. I took your screen share off, so I have to go back to screen share.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm already on it. I love
Perfect.
it. This is great. Cool. All right. So that was cool. We saw something immediately, fungal sporulating. Then you want to go back to your widest view again, usually, so that you can scroll around and find things easier. Sometimes it's fun to leave it on the 10x just because it's a little bit easier to spot things if you're new to this. So see, that's a lot easier to see. It's bigger. So that's personal preference, and it's how long you want to spend being bent over your microscope. So I know when I started, I did a lot of staring at things this close up, but as I've gotten more used to it, I'm doing it at the larger distance, further distance. So there's another one.
Yeah,
right
look at that long
there.
tail. Are you going to look at that one with the long tail in
Yep.
it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's a good one. And there's that sporulated head again. Whoops. So you know that you can tell beneficial fungi from a couple different indicators. So one of them, and it's a little bit harder to see when they're sporulating like this, but beneficial fungi in general, when you're seeing the hyphae, are dark in color, they are wide, and they have an even diameter. So that means that throughout the length of the whole thing, it's very even. It doesn't have any wobblies and wobblies and weird looking stuff. So that one's cool. It's not as pretty. I've got some pictures from the previous look-sees that we did that are just really gorgeous. Because this pile has gone dormant, it's full of lots and lots of spores, but not as much fun ones, just because it's already kind of done a lot of its work. Oh, here's a good one. Ooh, this is actually a really good one. Yeah, look at that big one. So this is cool because it's actually creating hyphae off of the head itself, which is really neat. So again, there we go. And again, sometimes you have to, oh, I should have shown you guys where the light was. If you reach your hand down on your microscope on the right-hand side by the on-off switch, there's a little wheel there, and that wheel is your light, and you can turn the light up and down if you need to. And yeah, the one thing I don't like about the cameras and the computer is it just doesn't quite, it pixelates a little bit more than it does from through the eye. So when you're looking at this yourself, there's actually a whole nother layer of beauty to it that isn't quite as visible on the computer. So, if you have a microscope, if you don't yet, I mean, this whole setup, I think cost me $500, including the camera. And if you're just getting the microscope itself, they're considerably cheaper, $200, $300, I think, something like that. And you can get them directly through Omax, and sometimes they have sales, but a lot of times Amazon ends up being your best price. And it's really a cool way to check your piles. And like I said, the difference between what I was seeing last year in my IMO3 piles And even compared to the pile that we made at the regenerative conference, those were my IMO collections. And I didn't have, I think I had one that I liked for the most part, but there was, they were okay. They weren't the best ever. And just the change between that and what I see now with having two really, really, really good ones that I really like is a world of difference. I mean, it's so vastly different. So here's another that one might be yeast. Not 100% on the differences between sporulating yeasts and fungi just yet. So, and the thing too, like it's all a learning curve. There are some really, really great resources out there for identifying your microbes as well. So Tim Wilson has a website, and it's either Microbe Organics or Organic Microbes. And I am sorry, I can never remember which way it goes. But on the very first page, when you open it up, like his page scrolls down for like 1.5 million years, which I didn't even know at the beginning. But on his website, on that first page, towards the bottom, it says stuff I sell. And there are two downloads. One of them is how to use your microscope, and the other one is how to identify the microbiology that you see. And both of them are really, really handy if you're new to this, especially the identifying microbes, because it has things while they're moving. So like I thought I was seeing ciliates for a really long time until I finally realized that no, I had not seen any ciliates ever. Or maybe I thought they were amoeba and then they ended up being ciliates. I can't remember what it was. I had no idea what I was looking at, because looking at a photo of it is very different than looking at it while it's moving. I think right off the bat, I remember chasing a flagellate around, which was actually pretty fun. So this is definitely a fungal mass that's caused a sporulated head. There we go. And so there's all those little tiny spores all over. And you can see it's got some color to it. If you look right, I almost pointed out with my finger. If you look right here along this bar, you can see it's not totally clear. It's definitely very wide. And it's very even. So see how down the length of it, it's got some wobbles and wobbles, but for the most part, it doesn't have any really, really awkward things going on. There we go. A little bit brighter. So, it's kind
And
of fun
I've
to
got
just
it up on a
spend.
TV, so it's like really clear for me. I don't know whoever's everybody you're viewing
Nice.
out there. Everybody's probably on phones and computers. I don't know what everybody's using out there. That'd be cool to know. Everybody throw in chat what you're using out there. Be really curious who views in computers or who's on here on a phone, and if you can see really well. I'd be really curious to know. So we could do this for you again on some other stuff. We could definitely bring Wendy back in and do this again. So let me know if you like it out there, everybody, and if you can see it well. Thanks. Go ahead, Wendy. That looks cool. That's a cool looking thing.
Yeah, what do we got here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's some type of, it looks like it was and sometimes there are like bits of cellulose and things that, like, I haven't seen any that are distinctly cellulose. This could be a fungal mass that has infected some cellulose. It's hard for me to tell. And the other thing too is sometimes you smash things when you're doing that shaking. So you kind of want to do it somewhat gently, but you can still have things banging around and mushing your specimens, which means that, you end up kind of going like, I have a lot of like smashed things that don't look like much. Compost is really fun to look at under the scope too, if you have a really, really good compost, because you'll actually get like nematodes and things, which are my favorite in the world. I love looking at nematodes. Nematode identification is most of the time we see bacterial feeders, but I have had omnivorous ones, which have the predatory mouth. And the only way to tell the nematodes apart is by their mouthpieces. So it's kind of fun to get up close and personal, but a lot of times you have to like kill them so that they'll stop squiggling so you can ID them, which always makes me sad. But unless they're a root feeder, and then you're very happy to kill them. But I actually have not had I haven't had any root feeders. So here's another fungal hyphae. If I can't focus it for the computer. There we go. And I think that what I want to do is show you guys what I think I'm seeing. So there's another type of fungal hyphae that is always beneficial, and it has basically a hook and catch. So, oh, that's what the other one. So this even septums. So these breaks, if these breaks right here are very even along the length of the hyphae, then it's generally beneficial. But if it has a hook and a catch, this one might not. I thought it did, but it might just be budding. Oh yeah, it's just budding out. All right, so right here, you can see that this is starting to bud out and this is starting to bud out. But there's a break here, there's a break here. It's kind of hard to see on the computer, but there's one right here behind these spores. Let me look through this eyepiece. Is there one there?
So when you're saying it's starting to break out, what is it starting to do? What does that mean?
Oh, starting to bud out. So these
Bud
are
out,
going to
okay.
create, this will actually create another hyphae, or else it'll create generally what this is doing is it's going to bust out a long strand with a head on it. So it's getting ready to propagate. It's getting ready to create more of itself, basically. So instead of going from this long strand, we'll end up with those heads that we were seeing earlier. But if you see the hook and the catch, it basically looks like a little C shape. They're kind of like dovetailed together, I think is like the woodworking term for it. Maybe. I could be wrong. I'm not a woodworker. So what's that one? That's cellulose right there. So up at the top, whoop, let me bring it down. That little thing right there. I think that's just a chunk of cellulose, which can be really pretty looking.
Joe says,
and really exciting when you find it, but dovetail is good. Cool. Okay.
Joe says dovetail is good, so we're good. I don't know.
That made sense. Awesome. Love it. So yeah, this is probably like cellulose or, who knows what. All right. So the other thing I want to do new share and, oh no, we're on, okay, I can do screen. Oh no, files. Nope. This one. I don't know how to do that one. Oh, okay, wait. Sorry, you guys. I wanted to pull up the photos that we have from
oh
from
yeah,
previous,
those photos you had. Let me let's stop share. Let's stop sharing.
There we go.
And then you can find where you need to find, and then we can go back to that. So
Perfect.
awesome. Cool. Welcome
Fantastic
everyone.
so far.
Hetty, you are late. Damn it, you were late. How's Hetty doing today? Thanks for coming by though, Hetty. Hey guys, if you can remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to remember so you can hang out with us and go live, because Wendy is going to be checking in with us from some grows and some farms and going on the road the next few weeks, and it's going to be some cool shit going on. I'm also going to go out probably and be visiting Tyler and get out to his farm as well. I think DK is going to be checking in from his grow as well. So we've got some good stuff coming out with everything, guys. So let me know when you're ready, Wendy. I'm just blabbing.
I am ready. I think we are screen sharing.
You are. We got the whole folder.
Okay.
So bring up what you want.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
That's okay.
I don't know how to just do part of it.
No big deal.
Oh wait, yes I do. Yes I do. If I do that, okay. I've got a wheel spinning, so
that's okay. No big deal.
My computer is slow, but yeah, we're gonna be. So I'm gonna be. I head out on Wednesday and I go up to Boise, Idaho, for assistant teacher teaching at the Korean Natural Farming workshop that Chris Trump does every year. So that's really, really exciting because it's kind of like, you know, reconnecting with our tribe and teaching all the new people and sharing and answering questions. It's super fun. So we'll be going live onto that. I'm going to try this one more time. We'll be going live at some point from up there and really just having a good time talking and maybe teaching you guys some stuff and showing things. I don't know. And then also I'm going to take you guys on a little tour of the grow in Colorado.
I don't know that
So
you can
again,
open
this is
it
working
when did you get it open?
perfectly last night, you guys.
I don't think
I
you
don't
can
know.
open it in this section, Wendy. Let me go back. Let's do go back
It worked
to
last night.
actually grab this folder itself and open the actual thing at
Oh,
first,
gotcha.
and then do
Okay.
it. I think it's because we're
All right,
live.
let's try it this way.
It changes that a little bit.
Got it. See, you
I
guys,
think it's
this is like
it's for safe, so somebody doesn't take
technology.
over and show stuff you don't want, right? Look at that. That is cool.
I guess so.
Yeah.
That is way
Yeah.
cool.
So this is one that either ruptured or, you know, sporulated out, just like so if you think about like a dandelion head and when you blow it, right? So it's got all the poofy seeds on it, and when it blows to sporulate itself out, it kind of goes out into the world, little poof. So um this one also is you can actually see the head behind it. So it almost looks like a little mushroom, and then it has all these little spores on little ends of stalks. And so that's getting ready to go out and create more. Again, this is the same thing. This one reminds me of the bull kelp that we have in California, where it's got the long strand that it's attached to a head with its like tassels.
Yeah, we have it up here too.
Yeah, it's a lot of places, huh?
Yeah, all along the Pacific.
We have it just here in California.
Now
the bull
that
kelp.
one you can really see like the color, the green, really up close to that. There's a lot more definition to that one, I see.
Yeah, and that's actually a darker brown through the scope itself, but
Okay.
I don't really know how to color balance on the computer. So
Looks really cool
you guys
because you
are
can
just
see
lucky
more
I can
depth.
take pictures. Yeah. So this is a great example of one that shows that septum breaks that I was talking about down here at the bottom. You can see it has very even breaks along it. There's one here, there's one here, and they're so evenly spaced. So this is like, you know, pretty sure that this is a beneficial fungi. It's not dark in color, but again, when they're sporulating, they don't seem to do that as much, or at least that I've seen. But you can tell it does have color in it up here. It's very even, it's very consistent. The septum breaks are very even. So this is all really good stuff to be seeing when you're looking through your microscope. I mean, here's another one. Look at how long it is. Look at how wide it is. Look at how even it is. It's got this beautiful sporulated head with all these little balls on the end of it. So each of those wants to become its own little colony. Oh, that's blurry. I mean, this stuff is so cool, you know, like I think that this is possibly a sporulated head behind some I would guess humic acid. But again, some of this stuff, I mean, that might be a smashed head that I accidentally crushed. Some of these stuff, I don't know what it is exactly. Just know it's absolutely beautiful. I love looking at this under the scope. I just think it's really a stunning thing. This may have been a sporulated yeast rather than a fungi, but and I did not really get a chance. A lot of this stuff was stuff I was seeing last night as we were talking and practicing this live, so I didn't get a chance to double check it. But again, here we have a fungal mass back behind a set of spores, and you can see as it's, you know, chaining off. And a lot of times people are like, well, which species of, you know, fungus is that? And generally, I don't know. I'm not that good at species identification. Some of this stuff you have to actually like do genomic mapping and sequencing, or know, you know, a lot more about fungi than I do. I'm just a desktop scientist. So again, here's another, you know, spore head that's come out. All these little dark circles all over. These are all spores. Generally, fungal spores tend to be circular and yeasts tend to be more of a football shape. I did find some yeast spores the other day, but I don't know that I don't think I took a picture of it. And this all came from that sample that I did last night as a trial. So even in, just a period of about 24 hours, we've seen that the activity has really kind of slowed down and gone quite a bit more dormant. This is one of my favorite ones. This is so beautiful. So here's this dark color that I'm talking about. And you can see it goes into this clear colored fungal hyphae. So it's a dark colored fungal hyphae. It's really wide. You want it to be at least oh gosh, I think it's 3 micrometers wide, which is generally you want to find one of your smallest bacteria, and it should be at least 3 times that. Girls, I'm still working, please, Kay. Thank you. So dark in color, wide, very even. It's all very, the same diameter throughout. Even though it looks like it gets skinny, this is what I was talking about through that thing sitting through the water column. So this looks thinner here, but I can see that this is in very, very clear relief. This is very in focus, and down here is very out of focus.
Yeah, so it's just
so the
farther
chances
away.
are that this is not sitting flat.
Yeah.
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 So it's got depth to it.
Yeah.
So it goes out of focus, looks smaller, but it's just a depth perception issue. It's not actually a matter of it changing diameter.
So if you envision it as you're looking down through, like you'd look through water, a lake or something, down through the bottom, envision that it gets blurry and then comes back up. So yeah, that makes sense. Very cool.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff. I mean,
wow,
Wendy,
this is
it's so
really,
fun
really
to see
amazing.
this.
Yeah. The guys
and this
are
again,
it.
this so
everybody's
so
loving
imagine
it in
I've
chat,
got this
by the way. I just wanted
pile.
to let you know they are loving all these scopes, and you guys, if you got any questions for Winnie, direct them here. Now's the time. Go ahead, Winnie.
And I'll try and answer it if I can, but I won't guarantee, because some of the stuff will be like, I don't know. But again, imagine if you have, okay, so this one, I don't know for sure if this is beneficial or not. So it's really long, which is good. It's windy, but it's pretty thin. It's not very thick. It doesn't have color. I don't see septum breaks. I don't really know what this could be some crazy, literally a crazy wild hair. But I don't know for certain. I just thought it was pretty interesting picture. So some of these things I take a picture, and then when I have time, I can go back and try and identify closer to what I think it is. But what I was saying is imagining that I have this huge pile out there, right? So I started with 50 pounds of grain, and I added to that about 50 pounds of different carbon sources. So I used some chipped wood, and I used cannabis sticks. And so, you've got 100-pound pile out there. And in that 100-pound pile, I took 1 milliliter of sample. And out of that 1 milliliter with 5 milliliters of water, I took 1 drop. And all of this was in that 1 drop. Like, that is, to me,
freaking incredible.
The most it's mind blowing, isn't it? All of this is in 1 drop of water out of 1 milliliter of soil out of 100 pounds of stuff that I created out of
if you had
handful.
If you had to multiply it, what would that be? Wow, the amount of.
And there is a way to do that math, but I did not do it yet. And so this is that same fungal hyphae that's sporulated out and just focused in on different areas. So this is, the fungi itself, and then that was this exploded sporulated head. And the math is astronomical. There's in 1 teaspoon of soil, there is so many microbes that if you laid them out end on end, it would reach to the moon and back. Oh gosh, I can't remember now. It's such a fun fact. It reaches to the moon and back I honestly don't. It's a mind-boggling number. It's like 1 billion times or something. It's absolutely, it might only be 200. I can't remember. You can look it up online and find out. Somebody should
more
look that
than
up
once.
And tell me what the real number is.
So
more than once, regardless, in 1 teaspoon of soil.
Someone said maybe Ebola? Ebola? Question mark? Maybe the long
maybe
one.
Ebola.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we don't have Ebola here, but
I don't even know. I'm like, I don't know what things are. Like, I don't even know what that is. What is Ebola?
Ebola is a disease.
Yeah, like the
Oh.
It's an
Ebola
African
virus.
disease that's very, very deadly.
Oh, I'm like, okay, where have I heard
Haven't you ever
that?
seen
Okay, we don't need to talk
what's
about
the
that.
Dustin Hoffman movie? All right. Breakout,
Squirrel.
outbreak,
Squirrel.
Dustin Hoffman, Ebola.
Okay.
Okay, this one is probably a sporulated yeast because it doesn't have any wild crazy hairs coming off of it. So that one's more than likely a yeast or some type of cup. You know, it looks like I can see the spores inside. I think I can see the spores inside of it here. So I mean, it's just, this stuff is gorgeous. You know, it's just, it really is fascinating to look at. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous things that we have no idea are happening under there. And
That's
then when
so
you start
cool.
looking at your, this is a double one, so it came from one strand and it's gotten into 2 sporulated heads. There's that exploded one again. All right, I think that's the gist of it, basically. I'll hit stop share.
Well, thank you so much. That's been amazing to look through all those and just kind of get like a little basic rundown of the things to look for and like an idea of what scope to use and an awesome little rundown of how to use the scope. Like, it's been fantastic, Wendy. As always.
Yeah, it's these are really nothing to be intimidated by. They're really, really fun, and again, it's something to, you know, if you're going to make your inputs, knowing how to check your work it can be really interesting, and it can be very informative of what you've done. So like, I had an IMO pile. I think it was one of my first IMO3s that I tried, and I was really excited. I thought it looked great. It was like white and fluffy, you know, to my naked eye, and I got my microscope out and I put a sample in, and I was like, oh, it's like, it's all actinobacteria. And actinobacteria is more like, it's not very even. It's got a lot of like wobblies through it, and it's clear, and it's just like, it's cool to look at under a scope, but it is really not what we want when we're looking at our IMO piles. I was like, oh, and I was so bummed out. But that was so informative to me, because from then on, when people are like, hey, how does my IMO look? I'm like, well, you know, you really need to look at it under a microscope, because to my naked eye, through a computer, from a photo that you took, sure, it looks white and fluffy. I don't know. I mean, what is it, you know? But
Right.
under here, it's like, okay, I know what that looks like. I know what a beneficial fungi is compared to a non-beneficial. And sometimes it's hard to tell. I've had ones that I'm like, well, it has the right width, and it has you know, it's got the right width, and it's got some septum breaks, but it doesn't have any color to it, and it's not super even, so it could be beneficial, but it might not be. And if you're seeing a lot of that, then you know that's something that you want to be aware of and kind of be like, well, this wasn't our best collection. So if I know it came from these 3 IMOs, maybe one of those is not my best, or maybe it is, but you know, it's good to see those very, very specific ones where you're like, bam, I know, I got it. It's got dark brown, it's even, it's got a even diameter throughout, and it's got even septum breaks. It's even, and color. Boom, beneficial for sure. And yeah. And then again, then you start scoping your soil, and you start seeing all kinds of stuff, and you start, you know, spending 3 hours chasing a flagellate around on your little tiny slide, and you forget to feed your children, you know, just stuff like that. It's
Go
not
down a rabbit hole.
Totally.
Well,
Going down the
awesome,
wormhole.
Wendy. This was so much fun. I didn't see any questions in chat. Was there any questions that you saw, DK, or anybody else got any more
We're actually
questions
just
out there? I was just
scrolling
looking
through
to
right
make
now.
sure. I don't see any. So I think I think we'll go ahead and call it a wrap for now, and we'll end the live stream. We can chat a little bit off of the air. Wendy, when we're going to be checking back in, did you say? I'm sorry. Or we're kind of tentatively checking back in.
Roughly.
We're trying to play it by ear right now, right?
We'll kind of
Okay.
play it by ear. So I'm
Okay.
traveling Wednesday, and I'm thinking that In general, one of the things we do is we do a larger scale IMO pile up there. So if we do that, then we can do a live check-in with Chris and talk about how to scale IMO piles up with tractors and things. And I will be bringing my my barbecue thermometer because that thing was amazing. I mean, I was telling Chris about it. I was like, holy cow, this barbecue thermometer is like world changing for indigenous microorganism piles.
For
And
anyone that
he's like,
doesn't
I
know,
have been wanting something like that for years. What's that?
for anyone that doesn't know, what exact monitor do you
What'd you
have?
say, DK? Oh, what exact? I have the exact monitor. I will go grab it and screenshot.
Oh,
it for you and
I was
show
just
you.
saying, you can just tell us what it is. Anyways, Wendy got this barbecue thermometer, and it's got a Wi-Fi thing on it. She's getting it to show y'all because it's super important on these IMO piles. It's super important to keep them at a certain temperature and not to go over that. And so Wendy got this. Go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah. So the brand is Inkbird, and it's the smart home Wi-Fi barbecue thermometer. It's this specific model is the IBBQ-4T. IBBQ-4T. And it is $100. It's normally like I think 120 or 140. It's on sale right now on Amazon. And basically the only caveat to this thing is that you have to have your pile near your Wi-Fi router, or at least close enough that it will talk to the router. So if you do that, and then you put the app on your phone, if you're in Signal cell service or Wi-Fi service, the app will alert you when your pile gets too hot. So you can set a little alert that says when my pile, so like when I went to town, I set it for 120 because I know that gives me enough time to get back to my house to turn my pile before it hits 130. When I went to bed, however, I turned it to 125 because I don't want to get woken up for 120 degrees. I want to get woken up for 125, which means I'm going to stumble downstairs and flip my pile. This pile in particular was a beautiful ramp up. It went from
I was going to ask you,
ambient temperature.
Did you actually have to stir it at night?
I did not.
You did not.
No,
okay, I was just
this one was
curious. I was just
great.
curious. Okay.
Yeah. You turn it every 24 hours, regardless of temperature. But with this one, so it ramped up slowly, which was really great. And then I hit the 120, 125, stayed at right in that temp for about a day or so, day and a half. And then it slowly crested back down again. And it was like, I mean, it's textbook perfect of what you want to see with your temperatures. So, it's just I'm so happy with the way this one turned out. It was really great. And it hit 125 once. So I turned it every 24 hours, and on day number 2.5-ish. So 24 hours, 48 hours, and then like another 12 hours after that. So around hour 60-ish, give or take. It did alert me that I was at 125. So I went out, and so that was the only time I had to turn it an extra time. So, and then looking through the scope, like I said, even the collection we did at class at the Regen conference, I was turning that thing. I turned that thing like 3 or 4 times a day, and it just did not slow down. I think it was too wet. It rained on the pile. The pile got moved. It was in a box. I was in the back of my car because I got home so late at night. I was like, I don't even care right now. So that pile was like, it was okay. I mean, it was fine. I scoped it afterwards, and I was like, it's okay. This will go on something I don't care about all that much.
But that's good to know. That's good to know, though. There's piles that work really well, and there's piles that don't. And then you're going to have some failures. You're going to have some not. When you go out and collect your rice, some of them are going to be bad, and some are not. And everybody needs to learn that and realize that. And I don't know. I guess kind of somebody told me that when you actually make a mistake, you actually learn more. And I said that's kind of actually true. You know what not to do. You know what not to do.
It helps if you can start getting it right also, because Sometimes you're like, oh, I know what not to do 12 times, but I don't know exactly what I did to miss it 12 times.
That's gotta be frustrating. Oh man.
Yeah, totally.
Oh wow.
Well,
Well,
you get used to it.
I say we call this a live. We're going to let you get back with your family. We're going to let everybody get back on with what they got going on this afternoon. I don't know what everybody's got going on, but I know I got to get back out in the garden. I know DK's got to get back out in his garden too. And I know you got to get to packing. So we're going to turn off the live. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you come back again. Go follow Cannabis if you haven't already. Wendy, reach out, ask her some questions if you got any. She'll definitely return your DMs, I know for sure, on Instagram, and you can reach out and email her as well if you need to do that. So thanks again, Wendy, for being here, and DK, we'll catch y'all later. Bye.
Peace and love, everyone.